Good night. Good night, for heaven's sake. Hold on a minute. Good evening. Welcome to the February 19th, 2025 City Council meeting.
February 20th, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Oh, it's February 20th. I'm reading. It's the February 20th, 2025 City Council meeting. Suzanne, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Mayor Case,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nakai,
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Here.
Councilmember Gear,
Here.
Councilmember Harvey,
Here.
Councilmember Jones,
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Thank you.
Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. All right, item 3 on the agenda, I'd like to announce that item 3B will be removed and placed on the next city council agenda. So that will not be considered this evening. The sales tax update. All right, I'm sorry. Okay. Item 3A is appointment to the Downtown Development Authority, and we'll look to Suzanne.
Thank you, Mayor Case. Council, before you this evening, you have an appointment to the Downtown Development Authority known as the DDA. To all of you. As a result of a resignation from Tony Perry, there is an opening on the DDA board. The opening that is available currently will be only available, the term goes to June 30th. So it's a very short term because the person being appointed to the DDA is filling Tony Perry's term, which expires June 30th. So this appointment we're looking at this evening will expire June 30th, 2025. As per council's instructions, the city clerk's advertised for this position. And in order to serve on the DDA board, applicants must either reside, be a business, lessee, or own real property in the downtown development district in the city of Woodland Park. Other ways you can be on the DDA board. In addition, an officer or director of a corporation having its place or business in the district is also eligible to serve on this board. The city clerk's office received one application from Mr. Jason Ledley, and Mr. Ledley is the owner of Solid Grounds Coffee Shop, which is within the DDA boundaries. This makes Mr. Ledley appropriate for the appointment. He's eligible to be applying for this position and be appointed. Mr. Ledley is in the audience with us this evening back there. If council would like to bring him up for any questions, and I turn it over to you.
I did have one question, Kelly, or Mayor Case, if you don't mind. I
Sure,
just
you
wanted
can
to
call me Kelly if you'd like.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Suzanne, are there any other criteria that other than the ones you read off?
No,
Okay.
the ones I read are the criteria.
Jason, would you mind joining us at the podium? Give us a little information about yourself and your full name and city that you reside in, please.
All right, good evening. My name is Jason Ledley. I'm a resident of Woodland Park and business owner in Woodland Park. My family and I moved here 6 years ago. My wife and I grew up in a small town. And then after college and after getting married and starting a family, we lived in a major metropolitan area for 15 years. So we had our fill. Decided that we wanted to relocate our family to a small town like the one we had grown up in. The disadvantage to the town we grew up in is that it is a swamp. We were a family that, would work to get to Colorado once, twice a year. for family vacation, and my wife and I are both self-employed, which comes with a degree of flexibility. So we decided to look for a small town in Colorado and found Woodland Park. Again, moved here 6 years ago. Our ownership of a business in the district is relatively new. We purchased the coffee shop in August. I jokingly say by day. By day, I'm a licensed professional counselor. When we moved here 6 years ago, I opened a practice in town. My wife is a home designer and actually has managed to keep her schedule busy. The way I joke about it is building mansions for Californians moving to Austin, Texas. So that's us in a nutshell. We've got 5 children. Eldest is freshman at School of Mines. Other 4 children reside with us here in Woodland Park.
Thank you. Council, questions for Mr. Ledley? Catherine, I see you going for
Yeah,
it.
well, if we could go down go down in order. I had a couple. I just have to find my notes, sorry. Okay, so on your application, you stated one of the most pressing issues to the DDA is the 2032 DDA sunset. So my question is, do you think we should sunset it or not sunset it, and why?
I don't know that I have a strong position on that. As I think through it, I lean the direction of sunset. In looking at other municipalities that have a downtown development authority or equivalent, most of them are chartered. They're chartered for a term with a sunset. They serve their purpose, and then usually the sun sets on that and they're dissolved.
So for your most pressing issue, then you think it should sunset?
Again, I don't have a firm position in 2032, still several years away. In researching what seems to be common with other municipalities that have a DDA or equivalent, the general practice seems to be that they are sunset at the end of their charter term.
Okay, and then the other question I had was, what's the objective of the DDA?
The objective, well, this is an interesting question, and I'll paraphrase. I actually looked for the DDA's charter to include its mission on the city's website, the page dedicated to the DDA. And while there's a section there that says view documents, the DDA's charter actually, maybe I have poor search skills, but didn't appear there. But in a general sense, right, the purpose of the DDA is to further the viability and vibrancy of our business district here in Woodland Park.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions? Carol? George?
Yeah, I had one, and it just goes back to an understanding of how DDAs operate in any municipality. Can you explain what your understanding of the tax increment financing process is, or the TIF?
I don't know that I could speak to that this evening.
It's definitely something within the next couple of days you probably ought to look up. And surely we can get them a copy of the bylaws for the DDA. That's
Foundation plan.
yeah, the foundation plan. It's lengthy, it's a little archaic, but it is important for it to be posted. I'm not sure why it's not. We'll find it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, George.
Okay, Mr. Ledley, can you explain to, or maybe just start off with how many meetings have you been attending lately with the DDA?
Yeah, I've made it to 2 DDA meetings. I missed the last. I was out of the country.
That's fair, yep. And I just wanted to state to council and the public, I wholly support Jason coming on board with the DDA. We've been business neighbors, and I just wanted to throw a ringing endorsement out there for Jason and this council, or on this board.
Thank you, George.
Yeah.
Smitty, go ahead.
Jason, because I probably mess up your last name and no,
That's okay.
I've heard it several times. My question is for you, and I'm a person that evolves around character,
Okay.
okay? And the issue that I'm fighting with myself about is, you know, your type of character that you have,
Okay.
okay? And going back and looking on videos and stuff like that, back in when we had that vote about the tax situation, you're one that lost composure as somebody in the audience. Okay,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong.
No, agree.
Okay, now, if I were to have done that, say at a BOE or, anywhere else, it would affect my character highly.
Okay.
So my question is, what's going to stop you in the future as a representative from discrediting, I want to say, your character by those types of actions?
It's a fair question. I don't know that I would necessarily think of it as a matter of character. I could chalk it up to a momentary impassioned lapse in what was a high emotional setting. But I don't know that it's necessarily a function of character or lack thereof. Certainly an exception for the rule for me.
And you being a therapist, correct?
That's correct.
What type of therapist are you?
I'm a licensed professional counselor.
Okay, so you with your training, should you not follow those same rules? I'm just curious.
I think this line of questioning fairly could go two ways. And so, again, therapists are not inhuman. It's not that I never experience negative emotions or even moments of overwhelm, but like I said, it's certainly the exception to the rule.
Okay, I'll stop where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have something else, George?
Yeah, I had
Go ahead.
another, I just wanted to point out, Jason, maybe you could talk a little bit about your chair position and some of the challenges that you've met on that as chair of a board.
Well, I've served on several boards. Which board are we?
Let's say the most recent one, I think you're on the merit board, right?
Yeah, certainly. Well, I mean, I think the challenge I've served on nonprofit boards and they're not as, maybe we could say high profile. I think anytime you're on a public and community facing board, there are always challenges, namely, not everything that board will do. I would suggest that it's no different with the council. You can't make everyone happy all of the time. And so try as we may, what we try to do is steer the course, certainly to execute our vision and mission, and to do so in a way that benefits and does please as many people as we can.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes,
Sherry?
I
Go
do.
ahead.
So Mr. Ledley, I don't think I think I knew who you were before September the 5th.
Okay.
The contentious meeting that we're talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
And I certainly learned a lot about how important that tax money is to merit, during the whole election part, that kind of thing. And at that meeting, after the vote was taken to move the sales tax question to the ballot, you verbally assaulted this council. You were rude, you were disrespectful, and downright classless. As a mental health provider, I know that we're human, we are human, we have human emotions, et cetera, but you demonstrated a astounding lack of self-regulation, in my opinion, just my opinion. So here we are, and this is like a job interview with the people that you verbally attacked 4 months ago. So first of all, you didn't complete the application, which I voted no against the guy a few weeks ago because he didn't complete the application. All the questions weren't answered. So to me, that demonstrates sort of a lack of seriousness. I'll show it to you if you're confused about that. But secondly, I have a few questions for you, and yes or no it would be perfect. Did you feel embarrassed about your behavior that night?
Yes.
Did you mean for your name calling and screaming to be threatening or bullying to us?
It certainly wasn't meant to be bullying
Just
or
expressing-
threatening. It was just, again, an impassioned moment.
Did you mean to make me feel threatened or attacked?
I did not mean to make anyone feel directly threatened nor attacked.
How did it make you feel calling us liars? How'd you feel after you said all that?
I don't know. To be fair, I had seen a council who weeks earlier had promised the public that were a new IGA, that was the issue at hand at the time,
Mhm.
were it to be negotiated and mutually agreed upon between the city and the school district, then the sales tax in question would no longer be in question. And then I witnessed a council, the perception of many was to go back on their word.
Okay. So as a therapist, I'm sure that at least I was doing trauma-informed care before it was a thing.
Okay,
But I'm sure that you realize that most everybody that's walking around these days has had some sort of trauma
okay.
in their lifetime. Yes or no? I mean, you can disagree.
It's a very generic statement.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I'll speak for
I think
myself.
if
I'm
we
no,
could
I'm gonna
wind
speak for
this
myself
up,
and I'm
please.
about done.
Thank
I'm
you.
about done. So,
Just no character
my trauma-
assassinations from the
I'm not
dais,
ca-
please.
this is a,
Please.
really?
Thank you.
Okay. My trauma response kicked in and it took me a while to kind of get back on my feet again. I was fully prepared for disagreement, you know, being on council and people not liking stuff that I did, but I wasn't prepared for that. So, and then I asked myself, am I willing to tolerate this from a few residents in Teller County? And the answer is no, I'm not. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Is that all, council? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Appreciate you applying, offering to volunteer. All right, council, I would look for a motion to, for Jason.
Yeah, a motion to appoint Jason Ledley to the Downtown Development Authority.
I'll second. Suzanne?
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin,
No.
Gear,
No.
Harvey,
I will not support Jason's application at this time for the simple reason he didn't know what a TIF was. The position that he intended to fill would only have run through June. And I would invite him to do the research and find out what a TIF is, because that is the very existence of the DDA for any community. As far as his behavior at the meeting that's been discussed, I've just gotten used to people in Woodland Park with beards screaming at me. So I didn't recall him at all. Sorry. But I think as a business owner, he has a lot to offer the DDA, but without knowledge of the TIF, I cannot vote yes.
so that is a no, ma'am.
That's a no.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
No.
thank you. Motion fails 3-4.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item, where are we? Item 5, the consent calendar. We have item A. And
Mayor, you have your announcement.
I do have an announcement to make. Forgive me. All right, for item 5, I would like to suggest that we move items 5B and C, which are on the consent agenda for tonight's agenda, and move it to our March 6th meeting. Items 5B and C were added to tonight's agenda after the rest of the agenda was posted last Friday, February 14th. Because the agenda was unfortunately unavailable on the city website for a few hours yesterday afternoon, the items 5B and 5C were late additions to our agenda. I suggest that we reschedule items 5B and C to our March 6th meeting agenda, just to make sure we provide plenty of advance notice to the public. Does anyone have any objections to moving 5B and C to our March 6th agenda?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
my only concern is item C as it pertains to approval of contract between Lamb Excavating and City of Woodland Park. The delay of the approval of that contract is going to impact the schedule for the UPass Cultural Center and the HVAC and fire suppression.
Right.
We have got to get that facility back open so we can book events. Is that going to impact?
I do have a suggestion, Mayor.
Please.
That item, I believe that item should come off the agenda as well this evening.
Okay.
And I was going to propose a Zoom council meeting that we would post next week to vote on that one item.
Gotcha. Okay, then I have no other
To meet
objection.
the needs. I know Rob, I spoke with Rob today. I know exactly when he needs that to be approved by.
Okay,
So that would be my suggestion to get that approved next week.
no arguments here.
Thank you, Suzanne.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Jeff. Anyone else? All right,
So do you just need a motion to remove B and C, or we just need to just consent?
just consensus will be fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we've removed 5B and C, so the consent calendar will just be item 5A, approval of the February 6th, 2025 regularly scheduled city council meeting minutes. I'd look for a motion, council.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion, council? Suzanne?
Thank you. Nakai?
Yeah.
Baldwin?
Yes.
Yes.
Gear?
Yes.
Harvey?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Case?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. That takes us to item 6, public comment for items not on the agenda. And I would just like to make an announcement that to let you all know that we have item 8C on the agenda this evening. And that is on first reading. And the council will not be taking any public comment on that. And we will have very little discussion from the council on that item. And we will just be setting the public hearing for that item. So if that's what you're here for, is to make public comment on that, we will not be hearing public comment tonight. We'll hear all public comments at the public hearing. With that, I will take public comment items not on the agenda. And if there's any of you that have something to share with us that is not related to ordinance 1492, we'd love to have you join us at the podium.
Mayor, I have the list.
Thank you.
Okay. Our first speaker is Kelly Strong.
Kelly, if you'd share your full name and city of residence, please.
Sure. My name is Kelly Strong, and I am a longtime resident of Teller County. I live just outside the city limits. And I did come, originally had planned to speak about the sales tax ordinance issue, but I had planned to come anyway, and I thought it was important, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I feel compelled to speak about the lack of transparency the community is receiving from the Woodland Park School District. Not just the lack of financial transparency, but the secretiveness in general. There's a lack of confidence that seems to have developed due to the inability of the Woodland Park School District to communicate what their plans for our public schools. The uncertainty is stressful for families on many levels. The public schools are here to serve all students as their needs require. We dismantle them at our peril. I've seen advertised and heard talked about religious teachings and activities at our public schools. This is inappropriate. Let's hope outside political and religious organizations can stay out of our schools. Our schools reflect so much about what our community is and where it is going. I hope that all kinds of people will want to live, work, and send their kids to school here. And that's all I really have to say, because
Thank you.
it was a kind of a quick change in
Thank you.
in the agenda. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Logan Roots.
If you'd give us your full name and city of residence, please.
Yeah, my name is Logan Ruths and resident of Woodland Park. Appreciate you guys taking the time to hear my comment. I want to let you guys know, the members of council, you guys are doing a great job. Really appreciate you being up there and giving your time to the community and doing what needs to be done and working to build this community to a better place. So I really appreciate all of the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you.
That being said, I want to speak to
I'm not stopping you. I genuinely mean thank you. Go ahead.
I want to speak to the troublesome situation that we are in. And I mean that as a very broad statement, because that there are a lot of troubling things in our world right now. one of the most important things that we need to hold on to is our American values. And the most important of those is accountability. Because without accountability, anything can happen and anyone can do anything. Like we have already seen with people being not held accountable. So I want to make sure that I make myself clear and make myself understood that to me, there is very little discussion that needs to be had on some upcoming topics. But I understand that there are going to be a number of individuals within the community that are going to be speaking in opposition of what I believe. I want you guys to do your best to keep your level heads, keep your heads level, and remember that the people that voted you in did so to represent them and to speak for them. And holding people accountable and maintaining transparency are of the utmost importance to this community, because that we have had a lot of years now that it has been a struggle. And being a resident in this community for my entire life, I remember what Woodland Park used to be. And it is very unfortunate what it has become now. And I'm disappointed to say that I'm from Woodland Park now, whereas I used to be very happy to say that I'm from here. So hopefully we can continue moving in the right direction and get back to being glad that we're from Woodland Park. So thank you guys again. I really appreciate your work. Well, the last 5 seconds.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Mayor, is Nicole Brockie.
Good evening, Nicole. If you give us your full name and city of residence, please.
Thank you, Council. My name is Nicole Brockley, and I'm from Woodland Park. I want to speak to this council's conduct during the last meeting, and it also ties into what we've already seen in the short duration of today's meeting. I want you to imagine that our chief over there is following you around all day long while you're driving through this town. And all day long, he's just waiting for you to mess up. And he doesn't find anything on you until that very last turn. And there's that stop sign and you don't do your 3-second stop. Chief comes out and is like, that's it. You've proven you're unfit to drive. We can't allow you on the road. I need to take your license away. Anyone in here would agree that that would be absolutely out of line. It would be disproportionate and unjustified. The very same reaction we saw from this council during the last meeting. Did the school board drop the ball? Absolutely. And I absolutely was disappointed by that as well during the last meeting. Now, as Councilmember Jones pointed out, you have a contract. You're in a business relationship. Is this how you treat your business partners? Would you want to do business with someone who, whenever a conflict pops up, you immediately threaten to take everything away from them? Mayor Case opened the discussion during the last meeting with the words that she had a very positive conversation with the school board. I don't believe any of you heard it. It didn't even seem like that. Did one of you pick up the phone and try to resolve this before making all these comments? Is this the only way our city leaders know how to resolve conflict? You've accused someone today of losing their composure. Please explain to me what the difference was to this council losing their composure during the last meeting. And you all know that wasn't the only time that has happened before. A counselor has emotions. I'm in the legal field. I sometimes do speed, sorry. You are our city leaders elected to represent the interests of our citizens. And you know what those are. And I don't believe you always do it. We expect more from our elected officials. We didn't elect a volunteer to a board because he didn't know an important fact about that board. You didn't even give him a chance. There's a council member sitting here who, while running for office, didn't even know what the 2030 plan of this city was. The hypocrisy is outrageous.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Tony Perry.
Tony, if you just state your name and your city of residence, please, for the record.
First of all, to the gentleman who spoke earlier, thank you. You're exactly right. We need to get our community back. So I saw an interview a few days ago, and as I was thinking about the meeting tonight, the two topics in the interview were caring and competency. And so it made me think about a few bullet points I wanted to share that I thought about. To be effective, you need to reasonably care and have a reasonable level of competency. If you're a reasonable and caring person, but not competent, it is questionable whether you can be effective. If you're competent and do not care, it is questionable whether you can be effective. If you are not reasonable and caring and not effective, you should resign, be fired, or recalled. The problem is that the uncaring and the incompetent think that they are the most caring and most competent. We need more reasonable, caring people and competency serving our community across our community.
Thank you. Next, Suze.
The next speaker, it's interesting because all it says on Zoom is iPhone. So if Mr. or Mrs. iPhone wants to speak, they have their hand up.
Mr. or Miss iPhone, if you would please identify yourself with your full name and city of residence when you become active on our Zoom.
Yep, they're getting on.
Okay. Your volume, if you can increase your volume, we can just barely hear you. Oh, you're muted. Are you there? It looks like you are still muted on your iPhone. That's what your screen is telling us. All right, I'm going to keep you on and let you figure out your mute button. And we're going to hear from the next person and we'll come back to you.
This
when you
was our
get-
final speaker, ma'am.
Oh, okay, never mind. Anyone in the audience wish to address the council public comment not on the agenda? Yes, sir. Your full name and city of residence, please.
Jameson Diane, unincorporated Teller County. Thank you, Mayor. I wasn't planning on speaking, but after hearing a couple of the other previous speakers, I think a couple of things need to be corrected. One of the speakers said that the school board hasn't been transparent. I'll just correct the record of the fact that there's 140 pages of financials that were posted last week on the school district website. It's quite literally the most transparent tax that we have in this city. There is no other tax that has a line item breakdown of where that money goes. Also mentioned, I think this is probably an oversight. I think this is probably related to the difficulties of running a city, but the city doesn't always have updated financials posted on their website. So we've got two different standards. That's not me pointing fingers. I'm trying to be impersonal, but that's truth. Second, and I'll try to keep my comments general and avoid calling out any individuals because I don't want to be accused of causing any trauma or microaggression. But I want to talk about contracts real quick. The way a contract works, and I know you've got an attorney up, sitting up front, so I'm sure she knows this. When you enter into a legal agreement with another entity, whether that be another government entity, another individual, you're held to the terms of that contract. If you violate the terms of that contract, then there's legal repercussions. Right now, my understanding, I'm aware of one lawsuit the city currently has. That's the short-term rental lawsuit. Every single one of those lawsuits doesn't necessarily personally impact anybody sitting up there, but it impacts all the taxpayers. It impacts the city. Every dollar that's spent towards those legal battles is less of a dollar that could go back to the citizens in terms of some sort of value-added services provided by the city. If this council were to knowingly violate a contract, the most logical outcome of that is another lawsuit. You'll have to pay attorneys. The attorneys will do well. The city will not. Taxpayer will not. That's a real consequence. And that's, I'm not speaking to any specific ordinance, but just in general, that's the reality. And that's the reality that you guys are facing today. So I just wanted to call that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wish to address the council this evening?
Mayor, let's give
iPhone?
Mr. or Ms. iPhone a chance again.
iPhone, are you with us? All right. We all meet those challenges from time to time, from day to day. Some days are better than others.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yay.
There I am. Oh my gosh.
If you would just give us your full name and city of residence, please, before you start.
Certainly. My name is Linda Martin and my residence is Woodland Park, Colorado.
Hi, Linda.
I appreciate your patience. I have technical difficulties here.
It happens to all of us.
I guess it does, huh? Can't wear my Elon Musk t-shirt that says technical service person. I have just a couple of follow-up questions. I sent the city council an email about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, about who our contact person is in the case of fire within Woodland Park. With all the fires happening in California, we are very much the same as the terrain there in California. And I'd like to know who our contact is or who will be reaching out to us from the city of Woodland Park, not Teller County, but the city of Woodland Park in case of an emergency such as fire. It used to be the city manager. Personally, I don't think it should be the city manager. I think it needs to be somebody who has experience in emergency situations. And I'd like to volunteer somebody in the police department for that position. You're very welcome, Chief. So that's the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing, I have sent a couple of emails to the person who would take care of dead trees within the city and have communicated back and forth, but the dead trees are still on Paradise Valley or Ponderosa Valley, I'm sorry, and on King's Crown. Of course, now that it's winter, it's hard to tell which trees are dead or alive, but I'm wondering when those might be addressed. I asked the question while the trees were still alive. So I'd just like a follow-up from the person who I've been communicating with.
All right, Linda, is that all you have?
No, I have just a couple more things.
Okay.
In regards to the psychedelic drug clinic that is proposed or being thought about here in Woodland Park, I'm wondering if there will be a meeting held for the citizens to voice their opinion, or what would be the best way for the citizens to vote their opinion on bringing in such a clinic. And lastly, I'd like to say a couple of words regarding Jason Ledley for the DDA. I don't think the city council has any right to question somebody's character when there have been people on the city council who have lied about their kids' homework so that they get attention on the school board. I also don't think that the person who brought up the character reference has any right to do that because he usually just votes the way everybody else on the city council votes. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Linda, I just want to let you know that with regards to your contact for fire, your dead trees and your mushroom questions,
Yes,
staff will follow up with you.
that'd be great. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mayor.
You're welcome. All right, anything else? All right. We will move on to item 7, which is unfinished business, and we have none this evening. Item 8 is ordinances on initial posting. These are all on initial posting for us to set the public hearing. Item A is approval of ordinance number 1489, series 2025 on initial posting and ordinance of the city of Woodland Park adjusting expenditure appropriations to the various funds for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2024 budget year and amending ordinance number 1466, series 2023, and set the public hearing for March 6th, 2025. Aaron.
Mayor Case, it's actually going to be me.
Oh.
Kimberly Burleson, Budget Director.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Case and council members. This supplemental appropriation is regarding funds to cover Avenger open space land acquisition that shall be reimbursed through a 2024 GOCO grant. $523,250 grant portion of Avenger open space land acquisition is to be paid by city funds. Funds will be reimbursed by Great Outdoors Colorado once a National Forest land use permit has been obtained.
Thank you. Council, any questions?
Yep, hi Kimberly. Do we know, has there been a postponement to the GOCO grants due to federal funding and all that's going on?
There may be ones moving forward, but this particular one so far has not been affected.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, council, I'd look for a motion to approve this on first reading, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1489 as written.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further questions of staff, council? Suzanne?
Thank you. Baldwin,
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai.
Yes.
Thanks. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. Item 8B on first reading is approval of ordinance number 1490, series 2025 on initial posting and ordinance of the city of Woodland Park, City Council of Woodland Park, adjusting expenditure appropriations to the various funds for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2024 budget year and amending ordinance 1486, series 2024, and set the public hearing for March 6, 2025. Kimberly.
Thank you. This supplemental appropriation is in regards to the DDA grants to local businesses. At the DDA work session on January 21st, 2025, the DDA approved up to 30 grants up to $5,000 for a total of up to $150,000 for the purpose of improving the beautification and viability of local businesses. The DDA wishes to disperse these funds to local businesses following grant application reviews at the May 2025 meeting.
Thank you. Any clarification needed, council? All right, I'd look for a motion, please.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. Let's see, motion to approve ordinance number 4, is it 14, the B, right?
1490 B.
1490, series 2025 on initial posting, an ordinance of the city council of Woodland Park adjusting expenditure appropriations to various funds for the city of Woodland Park, Colorado for the 2024 budget year and amending ordinance number 1486, series 2024 and set the public hearing for March 6, 2025.
I second.
Uh-oh. Thank you, council. Suzanne?
Thank you. Gear,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. That takes us to item 8C, approval of ordinance 1492 on initial posting. An ordinance of the city of Woodland Park, City Council of Woodland Park, Colorado, reducing the city sales tax by 1.09% and set the public hearing for March 6, 2025. I have something to read to you all on this, please. This is initial posting for this ordinance. Tonight, we are not conducting the public hearing on whether this ordinance is appropriate or not. Tonight, we are going to make some technical amendments to the draft ordinance, which I will share, and set the ordinance as amended for the public hearing at a date certain in the future. Consequently, we will not be taking public comment or having council discussion on ordinance 1492 tonight. Please save your comments for the public hearing. The proposed amendment, which I believe you all have copies of, clarifies both the title and the code amendment section of the ordinance 1492 and does not alter its central purpose or intent. And I will read that announcement. This amendment updates the proposed ordinance on initial posting to the form in which it will be considered at the council meeting on March 6th, if that's the date you all choose to set the public hearing. Amend the form of the ordinance that accompanied the posting of notice to the public on February 14th, 2025 as follows. Number one, amend the title of the ordinance to read an ordinance of the City Council of Woodland Park, Colorado, repealing the portion of the city sales tax that supports the school district, thereby reducing the city sales tax by 1.09%. And item number two is amend section 2 of the ordinance to replace the existing language with the following language. Section 3.08.030A of the Woodland Park Code is amended by the addition of the following new language. The 1.09% tax first levied for the benefit of the Woodland Park School District in 2016 and reauthorized by city voters on the November 5th, 2024 city election is repealed effective July 1st, 2025. This shall reduce the tax rate under the subparagraph to 3% on that date. That is the amendments that have been put on before you tonight, and I wanted to share that in the record and with the public. Finally, if there are any questions about the amendment or date for the public hearing, please ask. Otherwise, I would look for a motion.
So do we need to make a motion to do the amendments first or?
You can say as amended.
Okay, perfect.
Before we get there,
Please.
Mayor, you mentioned that we're not going to have council discussion on this?
No, not tonight. We're going to do it at everything at the public hearing. Thank
What-
you.
Mayor, one question for Suzanne. Will this ordinance have any Tabor requirements?
I will defer that to Aaron, the finance guy.
Okay, thank you.
Then I make a motion for the approval of ordinance number 1492, series 2025 on initial posting, an ordinance of the City Council of Woodland Park, Colorado, reducing the city sales tax by 1.09% and set the public hearing for March 6, 2025 as amended.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Thank you, Mayor. Harvey,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Smith,
Yes.
Case,
No.
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes.
Gear.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-2.
Thank you. And for everyone in the audience, just a reminder that that public hearing will be March 5th, 6:30 PM in, like I said, March 6th, here at 6:30. Thanks, everyone. All right, that takes us to item 9A, public hearings, approval of a special event liquor license for the 2025 Taste of the Grape located this year at the Shining Mountain Event Center, located at 100 Shining Mountain Lane, Woodland Park, Colorado. And this is a change of venue. Otherwise, we would not have seen this. And the applicants I know are not here because they are traveling this evening. Suzanne.
Thank you, Mayor. As council has before them is the Taste of Grape, and I know a lot of you are familiar with that event, and it's a fun and exciting event for the Kiwanis. This year, because the Cultural Center is doing upgrades, it is not open. They have moved the event from the Cultural Center to the Shining Mountain Golf Course. So a few details about it. They are asking to grant a special event liquor license for the 2025 Taste of Grape at this year's location, Shining Mountain Event Center, located at 100 Shining Mountain Lane. The applicants for this is Shannon Anderson with the Kiwanis Club of Ute Pass, and they're doing business as Taste of the Grape for this application. The organization is a nonprofit. They have a current sales tax number and the event details in case anyone's interested in attending. The Taste of the Grape will be held February 28th at Shining Mountain from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The factual findings of this are the application was submitted to the clerk's office on January 31st, excuse me. The property was posted on February 10th. The notice was posted on the website February 10th as well. Character of this applicant is not an issue, or this organization is not an issue for this event, and all applicable fees have been paid. As council knows and Mayor mentioned, you have given the city clerk the authority to approve special events year after year that are successful events. This is a successful event. The only reason it's coming to you is because of the change of venue.
Thank you, Suzanne. Council, any questions of staff?
I just have a quick one, and it's just, so they're gonna, next year, they're gonna have to do the same thing for it to go back to the cultural center? Or-
No, because we have past history.
Okay,
They've
that-
had it there
perfect.
and we've had
Great.
no issues with it in the past.
Great answer.
Thank you.
That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Right, then I would look for a hold everything.
Yep. Put
With-
yourself.
I will now open the public comment portion of the public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience or online that would like to address the council regarding this liquor license or this special event liquor license, please come forward.
We have no one signed up or no one online.
Thank you. All right, I will close the public comment portion of the public hearing. Look to the council for further discussion or a motion.
Move to approve the special event liquor license.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Suzanne?
Thank you. Jones,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, council.
Thank you, council. Item 9B, approval of ordinance number 1491, series 2025, an ordinance to vacate the lot line and abutting public utility easements common to lots 17 and 18 of Block 2 Sunnywood Manor, filing number 5. This is a QJ item. And council, any comments or questions on this item?
And CJ has a presentation, ma'am.
Oh, sorry, CJ, I didn't see you up there.
Oh, that's okay.
I had a momentary lapse of mine.
That's
power.
okay, Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Council and Mayor. Again, CJ Gates with the City of Woodland Park Planning Department. As the mayor said, this is for you to consider ordinance number 1491, series 2025, to vacate the lot line and abutting public utility easements common to lots 17 and 18 of Block 2 Sunnywood Manor, filing number 5. Sunnywood Manor filing number 5 was approved and platted in 1983 and includes a total of 64 single-family lots. Sunnywood Manor is located in the northeastern portion of the city of Woodland Park and is accessed off of Highway 67 via West Level Gulch Road. And here on the screen, as you can see, is the vicinity map. Mr. and Mrs. Anderson purchased the lot 17 and 18 in 2021. Lot 18 is currently developed with a single-family residence, and lot 17 is currently vacant. According to the 1983 plat, all side lot lines are subject to a 10-foot utility easement on each side. And Mr. and Mrs. Anderson are applying to vacate the lot line between lot 17 and 18 along with the public utility easement. The request was referred for review and comment to the agencies listed here on this slide. The City of Woodland Park Utilities Department stated that there are no water or sewer stub outs on lot 17, and they are willing to release the public utility easement. All referral agencies had no concerns with the lot line easement vacation request, and Core Electric has already recorded the release of right to easement. Staff finds no adverse impact to vacating the lot line easements as proposed. This vacation would have no effect on utilities, and emergency access is not adversely impacted by this change. Approval of this request would result in the subject property becoming one contiguous lot. With that, staff's recommendation is to approve ordinance number 1491, series 2025, based on what's in the staff report and what was being presented to you here tonight. So I'm here for any questions if you guys have any, and I believe the Andersons are somewhere in the room back there, although we have not met in person, but so, yeah.
Thank you, CJ.
Sure.
Council, Jeff, George, go ahead.
Thank you.
Jeff, I don't know.
Now I forgot what I was.
It's one of
gonna ask.
those
CJ,
nights.
what is the contiguous lot, the new lot? How big is that now?
So let's see here, the lot 17, lot 18 is currently 0.9 acres.
Oh, okay.
And lot 17 is currently 1.05 acres, so about 2 acres will be the
Yeah.
one lot.
And also, did this go before planning?
No,
It didn't
so,
need to.
yeah, so with this specific request, the only reason you guys are seeing it tonight is that public utility easement.
Yeah.
So if it was just a lot line, that would be all done in-house.
Yep.
Since it's just a public utility easement, it does not go in front of planning commission. So I just did first reading, your last meeting, I believe, and then tonight, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else, council, for staff? All right, then I will open the public comment portion of this public hearing. Anyone online or in the audience wishing to address the council on this item? Seeing no one?
And no one online, ma'am.
Thank you. I will close the public comment portion of this public hearing and look to council for further discussion or a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1491 as written.
I second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Suzanne?
Thank you. Smith,
Yes.
Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. That takes us to new business, and there is no new business this evening.
True.
And on to reports. So the mayor's report, I just wanted to share with you all that at the PPACG meeting last week, we did approve, after much public presentation, public comment, public opportunities for comment, the Long-Range Transportation Plan 2050 was approved by the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Board. And I will send you all and staff a copy of that document. It's quite large, so it'll be electronic, so that you all can take a look at it and see what that looks like and what's in there. The other thing in there is also the legislative advocacy document that you'll probably be interested in. So I'll send that along as well and share that with you all. CDOT report, I asked some questions, but they will be kicking off the resurfacing on Highway 24 from where they stopped by Divide up to Florissant. And during that project, they will be addressing and milling and overlaying from 24 to Evergreen Heights Drive on 67 as part of that project. So that all that mess will be addressed in that at that same time. Okay, so I'm going to be part of that 67 widening and improvements. It'll be part of this resurfacing starting in May. I knew you'd like that. I knew everyone would like that. I know I do. And that's all I have this evening. Catherine.
Hi, okay, yes, so I have, the Charter Review Committee met for the first time. Introductions were made. Councilmember Harvey presented a history of the charter and the subsequent changes to the charter over the years. The committee elected a chair and a scribe and discussed a list of charter amendments provided by Suzanne from City Council and by staff. The committee welcomes and recommends citizens to email charter amendment ideas citing the charter chapter it pertains to Suzanne so that she can compile a list for the committee to review. The next committee meeting is March 12th, 2:30 p.m. somewhere in City Hall. Don't know where yet.
What was that date again?
March 12th.
Thank you.
Yep, 2:30 to 4:30. The UAC met last week also, and updates from them are the Northfield well upgrades are in process, as well as the new Gold Hill tank
and the reservoir is continuing work on the new access road. The committee is also continuing to work on a couple water ordinances to bring to planning and council later this year. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Terry?
My report is just a legislative report, and that, I think the Colorado legislature is up to over 200 possible bills at this point. 400? Oh, that was too.
That's just stuff in committee though.
But, and what's been impressive to me is I'll see social media posts that people in this community are paying attention and encouraging others to go up to the Capitol and testify. But this is the first year, I believe the city has worked with a lobbyist. And so we have a meeting once a week to go over the bills that are coming up, and he and the mayors of Fountain and Monument and our mayor, we all talk about what we want the lobbyists to do. And what's been impressive also is he actually makes progress. So I guess and by that, I mean, we'll go over one motion and we'll say, we want to oppose this, or we want to amend this. And by the time we meet the next week, if that bill has come up, there are in fact amendments that we have suggested. So just want you to know that your city representatives are taking care of you and in the interests of all the residents of Teller County. The only other thing I have is that I wanted to shout out to the cheerleading team over at the high school. They apparently are amazing again this year. And this is a big deal. I mean, coming from my history of being an athletic and activities director, when these kids win something like this, you can't imagine the competition. Same thing with the wrestlers going to state wrestling last weekend. That is huge. It's huge. So anyway, congratulations to the cheerleaders.
Thank you for bringing that
That's all
up,
I've got.
Terry. Jeff?
For one of the rare times, I actually do not have an update for Parks and Rec, and otherwise I have nothing else to add, so.
Thank you. Carol?
Emergency.
A quick update from the Keep Woodland Park Beautiful Committee. For those who may not know, the committee, the somewhat clever name of the committee really is derived from their affiliation with Keep America Beautiful. And in 2024, our committee was awarded the President's Circle Recognition Award as an affiliate. And that is primarily because of the tremendous effort the volunteers in the city put into our city cleanup every year. So I am not certain that we've received this recognition award before, but shout out to everyone who participated in the cleanup and to the committee itself and to our staff sponsor, Kristen Higginbotham. She does a great job with that committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Carol. George?
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, what I want to say, I can't say, so I'm not gonna say. So anyways.
Thank you.
Just because my ADD Tourette's, type deal. Just want to remind everybody for the upcoming St. Patty's Day Parade, which is on Saturday, March 15th. If there's any organizations out there that want to be involved in it, it is during the day. It starts at noon. To, check with the parade people or Mickey Richardson in regards to getting signed up for it. It's really a great thing to do. It's during the daytime, so it's not at night, so it's not as cold. So I just want to remind everybody about that.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Yes, I just have an update on the natural medicine ordinance. As you know, you held a work session on January 16th, 2024, and you passed a moratorium end of last year. So I just want to give some dates for the public. There's a work session in front of the Planning Commission next week, February 27th. The Planning Commission is holding a public hearing on March 13th. If all goes well with that, you will have the public hearing in front of you, City Council, April 17th. And then, as we mentioned in the work session, no city, pursuant to the state law, no city can prohibit this use, which is cultivation and also use in the therapy standpoint. But you can regulate time, manner, place. So we're here to take that input from the public and from you and to finalize that ordinance.
Thank you. City Manager? Oh, goodness. All right.
Mayor, Mayor, can I just have 1 second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, council, I will send out a meeting invite. I'm thinking we're going to have the council meeting for this one contract question, so construction doesn't get halted on Wednesday, next Wednesday, February 26th, excuse me. Does 5:30 work?
Yes,
It
yeah, I
won't,
was gonna say earlier rather than.
it
later.
won't be more than a 15-minute council meeting
Right.
because we just need approval of the contract. We'll post it on Monday and everybody, public and council, can all attend via Zoom. Does
Can we-
that work?
Can we come here?
You can come here if you want, but Citizens Academy is that night as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we could do it upstairs if you wanted,
No.
but Zoom would be the best.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so expect that from me. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
By yourself.